So, hello, good evening. Let's wait for 2 more minutes for the others to join. Welcome to Let's Crack CBSE Science. So, today we'll be dealing with a very small topic that is importing how to use modules in the Python language. So, this is a very short session wherein you'll be learning the definition of library as well as module and the common libraries in Python. Okay, so wherein we'll be usually using just one of them as per the syllabus, but you need to know and understand what are libraries and modules, and for this reason, we'll be looking into that. So just 1 more minute, and then we'll pitch in. Yes, Saurav. Good evening, and welcome to my class. Yes, it's time and start. Okay. So, very good evening to all of you. I hope all of you are safe, sound, and healthy. So, welcome to Unacademy and welcome to my class. So, before moving on to the class, let me give you a brief introduction about myself. Hello, all. I'm Shalini. I am a BTech and MTech holder in computer science and engineering. I'm a teacher by profession with over 14 years of teaching experience teaching various BTech undergraduate students. With Unacademy, I'm excited to provide an inspiring learning experience to all the students via this online platform. So, as you all know, Unacademy has grown to be India's largest e-learning platform. Okay, so it is not just because of the pandemic situation that it has grown out to be the largest learning platform in India, but also for the reason that it is a one-stop destination for all the courses. So, be it a CBSE school-going student to an aspirant who's preparing for a competitive examination. So you get everything underneath one shell, which is the Unacademy. Now, to get access to all the resources of Unacademy and to get access to the courses offered by the best educators of India, all you need to do is get a subscription. So do not hesitate and take a subscription as soon as possible. So, what do you get in an academy? A few words on an academy and the subscription details. So, you get to see daily live classes. Okay. So, you have an opportunity to see in the live classes, you get an opportunity to chat with the educators, engage in discussions, ask your doubts, and answer via polls. Now, all the facility while the live class is going on, and all the courses here are well structured and in line with the current examination syllabus and offered from the best educators all over India. Okay. Now there are live tests and quizzes. Now these mock tests and quizzes would help you to get prepare yourself for the forthcoming examination, and also it gives you an analysis of how well you are getting yourself prepared for the forthcoming examination. Okay, and unlimited access. So once you get a subscription, you get access to all the resources of the Unacademy in the app. So if you miss out a live session, you needn't worry because there is an opportunity to see the same in the recorded format. Now this can be viewed at the comfort of your time as well as your device. So once you get a subscription, only then you get an access to all the unlimited resources. So this is how the comprehensive syllabus would look like. You would have the different subjects, and underneath each subject, you will be having the different courses that are offered by various educators. Now, you can click on the courses and then watch them according to your need and requirement, and also according to the time and the educator. Now, this is the Unacademy Learning app, which you need to download from the Play Store and install in your smartphones. Now, so the Unacademy Learning app, I repeat, this is the one that you need to download and install in your smartphones and get the subscription based on your choice. Okay. Apart from that, there is a Telegram channel too, now which gives you the details and updates of the materials and updates of the educators, etc. Now, the name of the channel is Quest 12th CBSE Commerce. Now, all you need to do is download the Telegram app in your phone and type the link in the URL as shown in the figure, and then click to join so that you get joined to the channel and get updates posted by the educators. Now, this is the most important thing. This is a detailed description regarding the class 12 subscription fee. Okay, so you have different plans here ranging from a month subscription to a year subscription. Okay, now across each of the plan is listed the subscription fee, that is a month subscription which ranges around 2,500 to a year subscription which gives you around 12,500. But if you apply my promo code or my referral code SLYT, if you use my promo code SLYT, you get a 10 percentage discount on the fee or the fee waivering. Okay, so a month subscription which costed you around 2,500, on applying the promo code will cost you only 2,250. Now similarly you get all the you get the 10 percentage discount in all the plans that are being listed in the table. Okay, for a class 11 or 12 students, I would certainly recommend you to take a subscription of either a 6 months or a 12 months, a year subscription. So this is not only helping you to get prepared yourself for the forthcoming board examinations, but also for your preparation to boost your performance and preparation for the JEE or any other competitive examination that you are looking forward to. Okay, so please keep in mind about the various availabilities and facilities of an academy, and do take a subscription based on your choice. Or if you would like to go for a trial version and then extend it, definitely you may go for a 1 month subscription and then you can extend it further. Okay. So that's all about an academy. And moving on to the agenda of the day. So, as I told you, we have been dealing with CBSE Class 12th Computer Science. And today we'll be looking into a very small topic, that is importing modules in a Python program. So, these are the contents that we'll be covering in today's presentation. We'll be looking into the introduction, the common Python libraries, and the distinction. Yes, good evening, Devika. Welcome to my class. So I hope you are safe, sound, and healthy. Now, then we'll be looking into the definition of module. We'll see the structure of a Python module and how to import modules in a Python program. So these are the contents that we'll be discussing in today's session. Okay. So the introduction. A module is a small handleable unit in programming, and a library refers to a collection of modules that together cater to a specific type of needs or application. Okay. Now, why do you go for modules? Okay. Now, let us take your school for example. Okay. Now, let me take an example of a school. Now, this school would have an administration or administrative wing, right? That is the administrative office wherein the students who are enrolling to the school would be coming, meeting the administrative officers, do the payment in the at the office. Okay, their mark list and all the things, marks and every updates would be received from the office. Okay. Now, then it would have a section which completely handles the academics, right? You will have the teachers, you will have the principal, you will have the teachers, okay? So these are all the unit associated with academics, or the unit that will be handling academics, right? Now, then apart from all these things, for the running of the school, you need a proper canteen. So there is a department which is looking after the food, right? Food and snacks. And then you would have transportation facilities, right? So you would have a unit called transportation. So this is a unit that is taking care of the transportation facilities being provided to the students of the school. Fine. Now then you would have a library for the school wherein you'll have books and now, this can be treated as a separate segment or a module. Now, likewise, you would have many things. You would have cleaning staffs also. Okay. Now, let me name that as housekeeping section. Okay. So, there are different modules. Now, can you think of a single body or a single group of people who is trying to look after the entire thing? No, right? It is a tedious job. Now, in this case, what we do is we divide our work into different units. Okay. So, the entire running of the school is being divided, or the duties regarding running of a school is getting divided into a portion being handled by the administrative office. Now, every work related with the office will be handled by the administration section. Then academics, you would have the teachers and the principal, and you might have academic supervisor or coordinator who would be completely looking into the academic section. Then you have people who run the canteen or who takes care of the food and snacks, the quality of the food being provided there, okay, about the staff, recruitment of the staff. Now, all these things or the jobs would be taken care of the canteen section. The transportation or the bus facility would have the driver as well as a conductor for a bus. Now, all these things would be manipulated by the transportation section. You have a library wherein you have the librarian and a set of books for assigning or for the students of the school to come and lend. Now they have a separate system of working. We have cleaning staff who comes under the housekeeping section. Okay. Now, what is the main agenda behind dividing the entire work or your entire project of running a school into all these smaller sections? Now, your job becomes easier, right? It is more handleable. So, if you want to address, or if the principal of the school want to address something related to administration section, he or she will have to contact the head of the person, head of the administration section. Okay. So via the head of the section, he or she can get access to any information from the office, or say any officer who's working in the administrative sections. Similar is a process in all the forthcoming departments that have been listed below, right? So this is the speciality of division or speciality of handling or making a module. Yes, good evening, Surabhi. Welcome to my class. So today we are dealing with modules and library. Okay. Now, what does a module do? It makes our programming more easier. Now, by splitting your entire task into smaller units, right? Now, each unit is called as a module, and this each unit as a whole is small comparatively in the size and in the working, and it is very handleable also. Okay, so this is how your entire large project or a large work is divided into smaller portions. Is the idea clear? So this is how what we call as modularization, and each of the unit can be called as a module, right? So similar is a technique that is being carried over in the language Python also. You would have different modules, and each module is a small and handleable unit in programming. Okay. Now let's come back to the definition of library. So when you have a number of modules together, or when you have a collection of modules, it refers to the library. Okay. So this together would cater to a specific type of needs or application. Okay. Now what does a library do? Now the library is nothing but collection of all the modules. Now let us consider this as each one as a module, and the collection of all these modules to be a library. Now, what does a library do? Now, this library or this particular library, what it serves is, it is serving to specify specific needs of running a school. Now, this is our main agenda, right? So, this serves the definition of what a module is and what a library is. Now, let us get to learning what exactly, how exactly the same definition can be carried over to the Python programming. So, let us now learn the commonly used Python libraries. So, what are the libraries that are commonly used in the language Python? Now, as I told you, library is a collection of modules, right? So you have different classifications when you are trying to learn commonly used Python libraries. I have not listed all the classification, but just the main ones have been listed or included in our course of study. The first thing is Python Standard Library. Now this library is distributed with Python that contains modules for various types of functionalities. Okay. Now these modules are grouped in such a way that based on their functionality, they are grouped and they are given a specific name. Okay. So the module, when it is grouped on the basis of the functionality, now it will have functions inside the module. Now this particular function would be catering to one specific need. Fine. So each of the module would be performing some functionalities, and each module would have a number of functions below it or underneath it. Now, which would be serving you one specific functionality. So this is how a library and a module is related. Now, right now, what we are going to learn, we are going to learn the Python standard library. Now, whenever we hear the term library, the next instant it should come to your mind that the library is going to consist of a number of modules, right? Now let us see what are the commonly used modules in the standard library. Okay. Now see, I have listed 5 of them, among which we are more bothered about only the first one, which is the math module. Okay. So which is the first one? Math module. Now this module relates with the mathematical functions to support different types of calculations. So all the mathematical related functions are included inside the math module. Okay. Suppose you have to do any logarithmic function, or suppose you have to do any trigonometric function. Now all these are defined, but they are defined inside the math module. Is the idea clear? They are defined inside the math module. Suppose you have to find, we have already seen this function, square root, sqrt. Now what does this function do? This function actually takes a value, say x as the parameter, and it calculates the square root. Now, since you have the opening and closing brackets, you know that this is a function, okay? But the body of the function is never written by the user. Why? Because this is a built-in function, and this built-in function is coming under the module math. Is the idea clear? So if you have to use this particular function, how you use it is, first you have to import the module, which is the math module, and then you have sqrt, the function which is defined inside the math module. So how do you get access to the an object which is inside a module? Using the dot operator. See this? What is it? It is a dot operator. So on left hand side of the dot operator, you would be giving the name of the module, and on the right hand side, you would be giving the function or the object that is inside the math module. Yes, Rohan, good evening and welcome to my class. So we are learning the different modules and how to import the modules in Python language. So this is all what you have to learn under math module. So not only sqrt function, you have similar functions like finding the square root, okay, then finding the power, okay, you would write power of base, comma, exponent, fine. So based on the functions, the number of parameters and the type of the parameters also will vary. Is the idea clear? So these are the functions or the mathematical functions which are defined in the math module. Now similarly, you have number of modules which are listed below. Okay, not only math module, you have some other modules also. Let me just erase a board. Yeah. Now we have the C math module. Now we have a small letter C which is prefixed to the math. Okay. So it has something to do with mathematical functions as well as now let's see what C indicates. C indicates complex number. So C math is a module which deals with the mathematical functions. Now all these functions are defined separately or for only for performing operations on complex numbers. So hence a module C math. Then we have a random module. Now this module, what it does is it helps in generating pseudo random numbers. Okay, it is just that it is creating random numbers. Then you have the statistical module which deals with the mathematical statistical function. Okay, apart from that you have the URL LIB module. Now what is URL? Uniform Resource Locator, right? Now URL handling functions to access websites from the program. Now suppose you are writing a program and inside the program you need to include a website. In that case you should have the URL embedded inside the program, right? For this reason you would be using the URL LIB module. Now this will give the handling functions to access the websites from the program. Is the idea clear? So these are the different modules that are defined in the Python standard library. Now this is distributed with Python and contains various type of functionalities. Now as we see each of the module, we know that from the name itself it is devoted for a particular action. Whenever we are talking about math module, it deals with only mathematical functions. When you're talking about C math, definitely mathematical functions, but clearly devoted for complex numbers, right? And random modules, which is only bothered about creating the random generation of numbers, pseudo random numbers. Whenever we have statistical functions, the module to be imported or to be used in the Python language is the statistical module. And definitely when you're having something related with websites, you use the URL lib module. Okay. So these are the things to be included. So moving on, next we have the NumPy library as well as the SkyPy library. Now NumPy is related with numeric arrays. What are they? Numeric arrays in Python. Now this is a library. Now this provides advanced mathematical functionalities along with tools to create and manipulate numeric arrays. So we have arrays is nothing but sort of linear list. Okay, numeric arrays, the linear list consisting of only numbers. Now in this case, the NumPy library would provide mathematical functionalities for operations with regards to numeric arrays. Now similarly we have another one by the name SkyPy. Now what will be Sky indicating? Sky indicate is a shorthand form for scientific. Okay. So whenever you have something related with algorithmic or mathematical tools for scientific calculation, we have to include the SkyPy library. Now at this stage or at this point of stage, you would not be using such complicated libraries in your program. Now we will be only dealing with Python standard library, but you need to know what are the existing libraries in the language, and this is the reason why I have included the other libraries too. Apart from that, we have two more. Tkinter, wherein it is the toolkit for the interface. What interface? The graphical user interface. So here, Tkinter library, what it provides is, it provides Python with the interface toolkit and helps to create a user-friendly GUI interface. Now, what exactly is an interface? Whenever you have a software, the interface is the one that makes the conversation between the programmer and the program easier. Okay. Now, if you're asking a very sample example of an interface, the operating system that is loaded in our computers is one sort of an example for interface. Now, this makes the work easier. What work easier? It helps in the communication between the programmer, the user at one end, and the communication with the system. So actually what operating system does is it has lots of functionalities. Along with that, it acts as an interface between the user as well as the hardware. Now what is the primary aim of the user? The user has to interact with the hardware. Okay. Now the operating system itself is a software that would help in the interaction and it acts as an interface. So similarly, there is a library in Python, which is a very traditional library of the name tkinter library. Now, it is nothing but it provides a toolkit for creating a GUI interface. Okay. Now, let's see the last library in the list, which is malplot.lib. Okay. Now, what it does is it offers many functions and tools which would help you to provide quality output. Now, if you have to give a graphical display or the output in a more understandable format, in that case, you would have to use the malplot.lib. Is idea clear? Now, what this library does is it will definitely have functions and tools. Now, what will these functions and tools help you do? They help you to produce quality output in variety of forms. I mean variety of formats. Now which all formats can you illustrate data? Now all these formats for the functionalities, it provides functions and these functions are defined in malplot.lib. Now what are the formats? A few of the formats that will be useful are plots, charts as well as graphs. Okay. Next, let us get to learning what a module is. Okay, now we had already seen what modularity or modularization is, the act of partitioning, right? When you have to partition into individual components, when you know that you have a very complicated task to be performed, what you need to do is you need to divide the task into smaller components or smaller units. Now, this unit will help you, will be small and handleable, and this will make your task easier. Fine. So if you're having a lengthy or a complex program, and then if you're trying to debug what is the problem with the program, it is actually a very tedious job. But if you have divided the entire complex program into different modules, now it is very easy for you to debug a module separately. Okay. And then you can find out what could be the rectification once you identify a problem in the module. So the act of partitioning a program into the individual components. Now, what are these components called as? These components are called as modules. Okay. Now, the way or the process in which you create the modules is called as modularity. Okay. The way in which you are partitioning your program to create the individual components is called as modularity, and each of these small components is called as a module. Okay. Now, why do you go for modularity, or why is partitioning being done? See, I've listed two advantages for this process. Now, partitioning is done to reduce the complexity, and it creates a number of well-defined documented boundaries within the program. Okay, what do it do? What it does is it reduces the complexity and creates a number of well-defined documented boundaries within the program. So it is for this reason that you divide your entire program into modules. Yes, so moving on, let's see the structure of a Python module. Okay, a Python module is a file. Now, what is the extension of the file? .py. Why? Because it is a Python file. Now, what does it contain? It would contain variable, it would contain the class definitions, statements, functions. More or less, it would be looking like a program itself. Okay. So, related to a particular task. Now, what is this program or this file created for? It is created for performing a particular task. Fine. And it will be having the extension .py. Now, Python comes loaded with some predefined modules that one can use called as standard library modules, and one can create his or her own modules too. Okay. Now what we need to understand is we have just right now understood what a Python module is. Now you can either have standard library modules. Now these are the modules that are already predefined in the interpreter or in the manual provided to you of Python. Fine. Other than that, the user has a facility or the provision to create his or her own module too. Okay. So these are the two ways in which the modules appear in program. Either the user can create a new one or use a predefined one, and such predefined ones are called as standard library modules. Okay. So let's see. See here, now this is an example for a module. Now this module consists of variables, it would contain functions and classes. Now the other modules can import the module which is defined. Okay. Now what are the other modules? These are modules that are defined by the user or any other Python file. Now all these files can access from the modules. Now how do you import it? Using the keyword import. Now let's see an example of a user created module. So this is not a predefined one. This is a one which is going to be created by the user. Now what does hash say? Hash is a comment. Now triple quotes are doc strings, or again it is used for documentation purpose. Okay. Now in the function, in the program, we see that we have two user defined functions. Now so this is not an entire program, you just have functions here. Now how many functions do you have? You have two functions, right? Now, what are the functions written for? Now, the title says that it is a Python file which is written for temperature conversion. What is temp conversion? Temperature conversion, the shorthand form that I have written here. Now, so what it does is it changes to centigrade as well as to Fahrenheit. Okay. So, a change from centigrade as well as a change to Fahrenheit. Okay. So you're taking a value and then correspondingly you're returning the value after conversion. Now the value read will be a Fahrenheit value which is converted to centigrade using the equation. Now this expression would return the value in centigrade, and there is one more function to Fahrenheit. Yes, good evening Amritesh. Welcome to my class. So there is one more function in the name 2 underscore Fahrenheit, which again takes a value. Now this value would be in centigrade. It is going to be converted to Fahrenheit using the expression. Now this expression has been written along with the return statement. So what would it do? It would evaluate the expression and return at the point of call. Fine. Now, apart from these two user-defined functions, I have two constants. Okay. Now, what are the constants? Now, freezing underscore C and freezing underscore F. Okay. So, the freezing values in centigrade as well as in Fahrenheit are also being shown here. Fine. Now, when you see this entire module, we see that there are comments, there are doc strings used for documentation. We see two user-defined functions and two constants, but we do not have a main program here. Is the idea clear? We do not have a main program, but we have written this and saved as by the name temp conversion with the extension .py. So definitely this is going to be a Python file, right? Now, whenever you have to use these two functions, that is user-defined functions, you have to name, you have already given a name for the module. What is the name? Temp conversion, right? So you just need to import this module in the program wherever you want to use it. Now, right now we are dealing with, or we are learning a user created module. How to create one, we have just seen. Okay. How to give a name? Yes, this is how you give a name to it. Fine. And this will be saved in your system in the files category with the extension .py. Now, if you have to use it in your program, what do you do? This is a syntax to import a module. How do you do it? You use the keyword import followed by the module name. Now, what exactly is the module name here? The name of your module is temp conversion, right? So, how do you import it in your program? Import temp conversion. Now, this would be the very first statement in your program wherein you would be importing this module, and in whichever program you have imported the module, you get access to the function 2 underscore centigrade as well as to the function 2 underscore Fahrenheit. And apart from that, there are two constants here also, freezing underscore C and freezing underscore F. Okay. So these are the two constants that will be used in the program. Okay. So to get use or to use all these things, what you have to do? You have to create a module, give a name. Now, whenever you're going to save the module, you have to give the extension .py. Now, what you need to do is import it in your program using import temp conversion. Now, what is temp conversion? It is nothing but the name of your module. Okay. So this is how you create a user-defined module, and this is how you import it inside your program. Now, what is the keyword to be used? The keyword to be used is import. Okay. Now, this is a case in which you have tried to import a module, right? If you have to import some selected objects, either you can write import math and then you can write math dot and your function name, or there is one more provision in which you can import the selected objects from a module. So here we go learning with how to import the modules in a Python program. Okay. Now this can be done in two forms. To import an entire module, how do you write import followed by the module name? Example, as we already seen, the math module, right, which had functions related with mathematical functions, say for finding trigonometric values, for finding the square root, square, logarithm, power, etc. So we had functions defined and they were defined in the math module, right? So to import the entire module, how do you write it? Import math. And then to use each of the function inside the math module, you would have written math dot the function name. Suppose your function name was sqrt, you had written like this. But instead of this, the selected objects from the module can also be used by using the keyword from. How do you write it? From the module. Import the object name. So suppose you want to import any of the objects, say you want to import the constant pi. How do you write? From math import pi. So this constant pi can be imported in your program. So this is how import works. Now if you are using the from keyword, you needn't write the module dot the function name. Is the idea clear? Now in C or C++, languages like C or C++, you have written, you have separate header files which are defined for all of these functions, and you would include that using the keyword hash include. Fine. Now similarly in Python you have something called as import, which would help you to import the modules inside the program. Is the idea clear? So this is all with regards to module. So moving on. So so this is all with regards to modules, and for the current study, we are just stopping right now. So for structure of a Python program, we need to understand that it will be having doc strings. Now, what are doc strings? They are nothing but which are used for documentation purpose. So before winding up, I would like to bring, I would like to take you back to the same user created module. Now, apart from this, you have built-in modules also, like the one we saw, math, fine. Um, Now, this was a user-defined module. Now, I told you that you need to take care of the name as well as the functions. Okay. Now, in this case, these are the objects. What are the objects? Your functions as well as the constants are going to be your objects. Now, the objects also have to be accessed the same way as how we have told for importing modules. Okay. Now, apart from this, we have something called as random modules also, which creates random numbers that we'll be looking into in another class. So, for the current situation, we'll just wind up today by learning what are modules, what are libraries, how to create a user-created module, as well as how to include each of the object which is defined inside a module. Okay. So with this, I'm winding up today's session. So today we had come across an introduction to our topic, that is, we saw what a module is, then what a library is, and we also saw the common Python libraries, which were the common Python libraries. We had seen the Python standard library, now underneath which we had the 5 different modules: math, CMath, random, statistical, and URL lib. Now this was for the standard functionalities. Now apart from that, we had also seen the NumPy library, the SciPy library, one dealing with numeric arrays and the other for the scientific calculations. After that, tkinter library for creating the interface, the toolkit for creating the interface, and then the malplot lib, which had tools and functions for which could improve the quality when you're giving the output in the form of plots, charts, and graphs. So apart from that, we also saw what a module is. We saw the definition for a module. what the structure of a Python module is, and how to import modules in a Python program. So these are all the things that we covered in today's session. So with this, I'm concluding today's session, and before winding up, I would like to remind you once more of the promo code SLYT, my referral code, which would help you in getting a 10% discount in the Unacademy subscription fee. So with this note, a good night to all my students. So keep watching my lectures and follow me in the Unacademy app as well as in the YouTube, so that you get a notification of all the classes that are posted by me. So with this note, we are winding up today's session, and that's all for tonight. Good night.